So of all of the game genres out there, the one that I probably have the least amount of experience with is the roguelites or the roguelikes genre. I played a handful of the big hitters whenever they had initially come out, like The Binding of Isaac or Hades, and even recently games like Inscription with those roguelike mechanics. But other popular games like Risk of Rain or Dead Cells just haven't really shown up on my radar in the last few years. But ever since I heard of this upcoming indie roguelike turn-based RPG, roguelikes have definitely been on my radar. I want to give a huge thank you to the publishers Joystick Adventures for providing to me a review copy of an early build of the video game Enter the Chronosphere. Taking elements like a sci-fi setting and turn-based gameplay and mixing it with an experience like a roguelike in which I personally have not ever played before definitely seemed like something that could be up my alley, so I jumped at the chance to play this game. So with the handful of hours that I've put into this game, I'm excited to give you guys my first impressions of Enter the Chronosphere. Like I had just mentioned in the intro, this game is in very early development, but the team is working hard at, one, not just getting the full game out there soon, but also making sure that later this year you can all play a demo of the game. After they get a demo out, I know that there will be an early access version of the game for y'all to play. And the way that this video is going to be structured, I'm going to give you guys my first impressions with this game, and then I'm going to show off gameplay just from me personally playing the game. It'll kind of be like a little bit of a let's play experience at the second half of this video. So if that interests you, definitely stick around to see all of that. But if anything that you see in this video regarding the gameplay or anything that I'm describing to you in regards to this game, if any of it sounds interesting to you, go into the description below and follow the development team. I will leave a link to their TikTok. But most importantly, if this game looks incredible to you, go ahead and wishlist it on Steam. So right off the bat, let's talk about the presentation of this game. I'm talking about visuals, audio design, all that good stuff. Basically, I think that the visuals in this game are very charming. It's kind of hard to put into words, but something about this kind of reminds me of going back and listening to podcasts like The Adventure Zone. I don't really know what it is about this sort of art style, but the way that these fantasy elements blend with the sci-fi elements here just kind of create a very cozy feel. If you're looking at the game right now, I mean, you might be able to see what I'm talking about. You might be able to kind of feel that cozy vibe that the game gives off, maybe in its color design or its character designs. I think the visual aesthetics of this game are very interesting. Even just when talking about the chronospheres themselves. The chronospheres are the worlds that you are exploring in this game, or the levels that you are exploring, but they are designed in a way that is spherical. It's kind of in the title. We'll talk more about the title and the gameplay mechanics here in a little bit, but overall, just the level design and the way that everything comes together as just the way it presents itself, I find to be very charming. I'll just use that word. That really, to me right now, feels like the most apt word to use for the presentation of this game. Outside of just the visual aesthetics of the game, the audio here is very well done in my opinion, whether it be the sound effects of the weapons that you're using or running around in the world, all the way to its music. I actually really do enjoy the music of this game. I think while you are exploring these worlds, or even if you're just sitting on the menus, this really is one of the more standout features of the game in my opinion, especially since I don't know if there will be voice acting in the game later on, but from my point of view, with this type of game where it's mostly just reading text, you're not hearing voice acting besides little grunts from characters and things like that. I think the music kind of has to be a standout here. So far, I really don't have any complaints from the audio design whatsoever. So yeah, this game is psychedelic as well. So if that is your style, you know, you'll see very early on if the flashy, colorful nature of this game is going to be for you or not. I personally really dig it. I think it just puts all of that charm, that's the cherry on top. It's just the psychedelic, very colorful nature of this game. So yeah, I love the way that this game presents itself. The only thing negative that I personally can say about its presentation is maybe its font. Every now and then the font that appears on the screen is a little bland. That's really the only way that I can put it. Just sometimes I just feel like it doesn't incite anything exciting to me, if that makes sense. Sometimes I'll be reading descriptions of items, and the way that the font is just laid out on the screen, sometimes I personally just don't feel like reading it because the font just doesn't catch my eye. It kind of sounds like a redundant thing to actually complain about. The font doesn't really matter as long as the words are interesting, right? Then that should hold your attention. But sometimes when you're playing a game that is this visually pleasing in other regards, sometimes noticing something like the font can just be that little thing that just kind of annoys you. You know, it's not really something that I have a huge issue with. Maybe they'll change it down the line. Maybe they'll give you font options. I'm not totally sure. But for me personally, visually speaking, aesthetically speaking, the font is the only thing that I can really complain about. And before we get into gameplay, let's talk about characters. Now, whenever you are at the main menu of the game, before you jump into a level and you are actually playing it, you get a very large roster of characters to kind of spin through, look at their character descriptions, look at their designs. Most of them are grayed out, like you can't click them, you can't play as those characters, but 2 of them are playable. You have Marcia, who it looks to be like a human girl, and you have Urtar, who looks to be like a grizzly bear. Like I mentioned, there are tons of other characters that you can look through, but you can't play as the others. They will be playable later on in the game, as well as in included story mode. So if you want a little bit more out of the characters in this game, I'm sure that whenever the full game comes out, you can probably talk to these characters or have cutscenes with these characters just to get to know them a little bit more. But for right now, in this demo, I got to play as these 2 characters. There's not a whole lot of difference between the 2 characters, in my opinion. Whenever you're selecting them, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen that you have certain skills and attributes, whether they just be normal character buffs that they start off with, or they be abilities that you can activate while you're out playing the game. Those things will vary from character to character, and from what I've played in the game, you can unlock new abilities and new stats for these characters, basically by completing objectives in the game. So if you have one specific ability with a character that you're playing as, but you like using that player, but you don't like that ability, you'll be able to unlock new abilities for those characters. What their starting stats are, what their starting abilities are whenever you're choosing them, are not the end-all be-all for that character. So with the 2 characters, I found there to be a little bit of customization the more that I continued to play the game and unlock new abilities for both characters. But now that we've talked from the menu screen to choosing your character, let's jump into the game and let's talk about what this game is and how it plays and what the gameplay is like, because this is the real standout factor of this game. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a cross between roguelike elements as well as turn-based RPG elements. One thing that I didn't mention, however, is that this game, if you've played games like Superhot, this game runs a little bit like the game Superhot. Basically, once you are on the field, everything around you, the whole world, is not moving unless you move. If you decide to move your character one pace, everyone else moves a pace as well. If you decide to take a shot with your weapon, you shoot a bullet at somebody, everything else around you moves as well. If you decide to heal your character, everything moves around you while you're healing. If you decide to reload your weapon, basically every little action that you as the player make, everything around you moves as well. So this is kind of a bullet hell as well. As you are going through the levels in this game, you will encounter tons and tons of enemies, and they will all be just fully coming at you from all angles around you. Almost every weapon in this game is a projectile. You do have a few melee weapons as well, and some enemies can attack you up close and personally as well, but you are going to see bullets fly all around you basic at all times, especially when you get deeper and deeper into this game and you get to the harder levels. You're going to see lots of bullets flying around everywhere. But like I said, if you are staying still, all of the bullets around you freeze. The game only moves whenever you move. And to pair that with this sort of turn-based roguelike system, it was just incredibly fun. Even whenever it was really hard, I found myself very eager and excited to try it again and restart the world just to see if I could get further and further into these levels. But let's talk about what I mean by getting further and further into these levels. Like I mentioned, the worlds, these levels that you go to are called chronospheres. Chrono being time, right? And then the spheres being the world. You go to this world, you go to a level, and from the get-go, you have a couple of different worlds that you can go and explore. But each world, every single one of them, sure, they might have different overall layouts than one another, but every world, no matter which one you choose, you will not have the same experience each time you go into it. When you land in one of these Chronosphere worlds, the opening level is going to be a very small room. Each room that you go into gets bigger and bigger until you reach the middle of the room, and then as you continue to move down in the world, everything gets smaller and smaller after the middle. It moves like, a sphere. From top to bottom, it starts small, gets wide, gets small again. From what I experienced, every world that you go to has a total of 13 floors, 13 levels to the Chronosphere. But the floors always change. The sizes stay relatively the same size, like the middle piece of the world will always be the biggest, the tops and the bottoms of the world will be the smallest, but the layout, the enemies, the weapons that you can find, the buffs, like the treasure chests that you can find in the worlds, they're always going to be different. So sometimes you'll get really lucky and you'll find great items that will help you throughout your journey through the Chronosphere. But then sometimes you just find nothing and you're just dealing with hordes of incredibly hard enemies and you just don't have the correct equipment to just tackle the hard enemies that are coming at you. But yeah, like I mentioned, you do find treasure chests, which also add buffs to your character while you're playing. These buffs can include something along the lines of every 3 turns that you take, you become incredibly powerful for that 4th turn, or every single time that you shoot a bullet, it has incendiary ammo. So you're also dealing fire damage so that whenever other other enemies move on the battlefield, they're also taking fire damage even after they've been hit by your projectile. Sometimes they're just as easy as speed boosts and strength boosts. You can find little health packs in the world, so when you're low on health, you can use those to regenerate your health. You can find other buffs that make you invincible for a short amount of time. You have a set amount of slots on the bottom of the screen that you can see at all times while you're playing, and then if you are getting real good at the game and you are going further into the levels and you've used up all of those slots down there, I don't know if there's going to be a system later on where you can increase the amount of slots at the bottom of the screen, but if you do need to swap out abilities because you're just overloaded, you have to make that decision on, okay, is this item, this buff that I'm going to accept, is it worthy of replacing one of the other ones that I have down here, or should I just pass this one on and continue with the build that I have? And I'll just say the movement in this game, the way that the player runs around the world of this game, it is based on just a one singular turn kind of movement system. So you don't just free run around the world. Like I said, as you are moving, everything else around you moves as well. So basically every step that you take acts as a turn. So in that sense, traversing these levels can actually be a little slow at times. I think particularly of games like Crypt of the Necrodancer, where whenever you are in battle there, you are able to move freely, but it kind of has to be on a step-by-step basis. So that's basically how this entire game works. Even whenever you clear all of the enemies on the screen, if there's one suggestion that I could ask of the developers, I don't know if it's even possible to do something like this, but I would just love it if there was a system in place where if you killed all of the enemies on the screen, you were notified that the room was clear by giving you maybe that ability to just free run around and not have to worry about the movement turn-based system just walking around the world. I only just say all of that because, like I mentioned, whenever you are just walking around and you're just trying to find the exit to go to the next room, or maybe you killed all the enemies but you're missing the weapon upgrade or the buff like treasure chest around, and maybe you're getting a little bit lost, it can take a long time just moving through the world because of the way that the time system works. And let me just say, I mean, I know I said that I haven't played many roguelikes in the past. This is not a genre that I'm super familiar with, but this game can definitely get hard. I know that at the center of these worlds, or at the heart of these worlds, is a big bad boss. And I'm not gonna lie, I have not made it to any of the big bad bosses. I've made it to some of the midway through the level bosses. Like whenever you get about halfway through it, I mean, the further you go down into these worlds, enemies do just get harder and harder. Like I said, this is a bullet hell, so you have to be really on your toes, and thankfully, because nothing moves if you're not moving, you can sit here and plan meticulously what direction you need to move, what item you need to switch to, what direction you're going to shoot, all in a way that is very strategic. And if you are not thinking and you're not being strategic about what you're going to do as you go further and further into these Chronosphere levels, you may end up in a spot where you just have to start all over because you weren't paying attention to all the bullets coming at you, and then boom, you died. You didn't realize that you ran out of health packets or something like that. It can get very hard, so that's just something that you need to be thinking about basically the whole time that you're playing. Time is on your side. Time is what you do with it. If you don't want bullets to come at you, then stay still. Figure out maybe if there's another direction that you can go run to avoid those bullets or something like that. There is just a lot of strategy in the gameplay. And like I had mentioned, this was kind of the big draw for me when I was looking at this game. Like I had compared it to with Super Hot. Super Hot was an independent game that I fell in love with, especially when I was playing it with PlayStation VR. I loved the mechanics of that game, and that basically time wasn't moving unless I was moving, so that was the whole strategy of that game. But turning it into essentially a turn-based RPG with all of these changing level mechanics with the roguelike stuff here, I mean, this was an incredibly interesting thing for me to check out. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, if any of this sounds interesting to you at all, whether it be artistically speaking or gameplay speaking, please go wishlist this game on Steam now. And I touched on this just a little bit earlier on in the video, but as someone who runs a primarily story-driven video game-centered channel, this was not any sort of story experience for me. This was just something that I got to play for the gameplay, and I'm not gonna lie, even if there was no story here to this game, I thought just the overall loop of this game was very addicting, and I could really find myself sitting here for a long time just trying my best to get through these worlds. And you know, I mean, even if this was the entire game and there was no story, like I just said, I could play this forever. But there is a story coming down the line. So even though I haven't mentioned story stuff here yet, rest assured that once we do get further into the timeline of this game, we'll start to get more information and details about its story and things of that nature and other characters in the game. So when this game is out, there will be a story mode. But for right now, this is just a fun, gameplay experience for me. One thing to mention as well, just whenever you're in the menus of this game and you're playing around with graphics settings and things like that, I actually never figured out how to mess with the graphics settings of the game. There was no resolution or full screen or windowed option for me in the menu, so that was a little confusing. However, there was one mode that I thought was very, very interesting, and that was just the option to turn on and off just the art design, just to fully remove the art from the video game, which I thought was a very unique decision. You can fully, all of the visuals that you see, you can break it down to the most simple of code, basically, where you just see a little circle on the screen and like little chess pieces as the enemies coming at you, and little gun icons and lines to indicate barriers and walls on the field. I thought that that was very interesting, and especially if you're someone who's trying to run this game on a really weak system or hardware, that's probably going to be your best bet for getting the smoothest gameplay experience. But man, even if I was getting higher frames in that mode of removing the art, there was just no way that I was going to turn off all of that charming artistic direction in the game, so I left it on, obviously. But those are all of my thoughts and opinions on Enter the Chronosphere. This was a demo that I was incredibly pumped about playing, and for the most part, I wasn't let down. This was a very fun experience, and because of the roguelike elements and just the fact that every time you go in through a level, you're not going to be experiencing the same thing as the time that you did before, I'm excited just to keep on playing this even after I'm done making this first impressions video. Go ahead in the description below and follow the development team on their TikTok, as well as going to the Steam page and wishlisting this game if any of it seemed interesting to you. Now I'm going to play through a little bit of the game just to show you how one or two of the characters actually do get to play just live in action. So I hope you enjoy this. Okay, so I'm going to just play a few minutes of Enter the Chronosphere here, just to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about in my main first impressions kind of thoughts that I was just talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and click play, and right here we can select a world. We have 6 worlds that we can choose from at the very start of this demo, but I'm gonna go ahead and do Demosphere just so I can show you exactly what this game has to offer from the get-go. So of the two characters, we've got Marcia and Urtar. I'm gonna go ahead and play as Marcia for this gameplay demonstration. So as you can see, boom, this is it. Oh, press the wrong button. All right, so to move around, yeah, we're using right click to move, and you can move kind of just within a very small radius around yourself. You can move little distances, you can move kind of longer distances. Sometimes you'll go ahead and get other abilities that let you move faster, but I'm gonna go ahead over here and just grab my first health thing, the bootleg boomstick. So this game is also full of references, things like the Evil Dead right there. Oh, I didn't even realize that there was an enemy right there. That was a little a bad example of showing you how the timing system works, but over here there's definitely some enemies around. So when I move, if you look around the map, you can see other things move as well. So of course everyone kind of has like a little idle animation. This guy over here isn't really moving while I'm not moving, but if I move like this, oh, see, they all move the moment that I move. So I'm gonna go ahead and shoot this guy, and I'm gonna do it again. I need to reload. So I'm gonna press R to reload, and you'll see them move as well. All right, so he shot me while I was reloading. I'm gonna shoot that guy. Oh gosh. Yeah, I was, okay, so I'm gonna dodge this way. Did I already kill everyone over there? All right, I'm gonna heal up real fast. Everyone over here is dead. I'm gonna disable that. Kind of shows you how to play the game a little bit. Here is our first chest. We have the auto shield, which deploys a defensive barrier when you attack. Explosion size, oh, patent 66, explosion size and damage, plus 50%. Booster Pack Beta Nuclear Engine. Propel yourself forward, leaving behind bullet melting radiation. Recharges each floor. So just for defensive purposes, I'm going to do this auto shield and just equip that. See, down here we have these empty squares that will be filled up by other abilities. Mining laser. So I'm going to go ahead and swap, because right over here we have 2 weapons. You can always have 2 weapons at a time in your rotation. I'm going to go ahead and just swap my pistol for this mining laser. And I might as well. It says we have infinite ammo. So I'm going to go ahead and just see how it works. Okay. Gotcha. So there's a only a certain length that we can attack people with this mining laser, it looks like. All right, so this guy's coming at me. I'm going to shoot him with my mining laser. And I'm not going to worry about... Actually, yeah, I'll just shoot that thing. So this guy's alerted now. Boom. Got him. All right, and boom, I'm going to shoot that guy. See, everything really is based on timing. See, this guy noticed me, and I know that once I shoot this barrel, if I decide to shoot it, he could move in a direction that gets out of the radius of the barrel. I'm hoping he doesn't, though. So he did not there, which is nice. Oh, so those guys just... They just killed themselves, basically. But yeah, so as you can see... Oh, oops. I'm going to come over here. Shoot that. Got that guy. There is... Ooh, glad I did not go there. Opening chest. Used to deploy a trio of chainsaws while moving or attacking for 6 turns. Used to become fast and powerful for 6 turns. Cooldown for 24 turns. Fire extra bullets in all directions when attacking. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I don't think... Where's the exit? Is it even over here in this direction? I don't think it is. Okay, so as you can see right there, it is straight up giving me the ability... Okay, so... Ooh. Yeah, once I shoot, it just shoots a bunch of bullets in a ton of different directions. Boom! Next floor. Alright, I'm doing a lot better right now than I have so far in just playing this game. That guy... Okay, so this is... These are guys just throwing some bombs around. Okay, so far I'm doing... Uh-oh. Ooh, gosh. Oh, I'm out of health pack, so I'm probably gonna die here. Okay, here we go. Shoot that guy. These guys are throwing bombs all over the place, so now I really have to be careful where I am... Where I'm deciding to move and at what time. So everyone's bullets are coming at me. I'm gonna shoot that guy. I'm gonna shoot that guy. Oh, so yeah, now I have to move out of the way of that bullet. I am 2 hits away from being fully dead. Got that guy. All right, I'm not even gonna waste my time here anymore. I think I'm like halfway through the game or through the levels. Through this little world area. Uh-oh. Alright, they're coming out of the ground right there. So now it's just a matter of timing everything in a way that is making sure I'm not just going to run into bullets. That's really my only... Oh, gosh. Okay, so that's coming at me. Boom, dodge that one. Alright, this guy. That guy needs to die. Oh, okay, so I'm going to use my ability over here, which is to dodge roll. And that'll straight up just move me out of the way of those projectiles. I'm going to move this way. Yep, that's a smart move. Okay. Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah, okay, so I couldn't move in time for that one. So that is the gist of this game. So like if you remember that very first stage that we were at, I'm going to just click restart real fast and it's going to take me all the way back to the opening level of this world. And you can see pretty clearly that this is going to be a different design, a different layout than it was. See, now we have these types of enemies here in this world. And, ooh, is that gonna hit? No. So now, you know, we still have our general health pack that we can pick up. This weapon changes depending on where you go. I think the first weapon that I got was the boomstick in the first level, but here we have the splitter, and you can see just right here, you can see the line of fire. It's like a machine gun that shoots in different directions. So even just going over here to this next level, you can see pretty clearly. Actually, I'm going to go over here real fast just to show you how different the, oh gosh, these little treasure chests can be. Yeah, over here, speed crank. Used to gain move speed up to 12 turns and a cooldown. Yeah, okay, so death clock, this is interesting. When you equip it, every single time that you move around, you shoot like some shurikens. All right, I'm gonna see if I can get these guys. Ooh. Okay, so that bolt's coming at me. Boom, dodged it. All right, so that's basically it. I'm gonna stop it right there. Yeah, thanks for checking out this little thing. I don't usually do little gameplay demonstrations here in the middle of my reviews or first impressions, but I'm gonna go ahead and abandon this run and give it back to past Gavin, who did the first impressions video. So that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video. Go ahead down in the comments below and let me know how excited you are for Enter the Chronosphere. Go ahead and let me know down there as well what your favorite roguelike is, what your favorite tactical RPG is. I'm excited just to read all of your thoughts and comments about this genre and this game in particular down below. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell as well, so that you're notified whenever new videos like this go up. And if you enjoyed this too, go ahead in the description and join the Discord. The Discord is full of a ton of other like-minded individuals like myself, like you, who enjoy fun video games, who enjoy RPGs, who enjoy story-driven games, who enjoy just playing video games as a whole. So go ahead and join the Discord if you fall into any of that category. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for this video. I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.